Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Iconic Dollcast. My name is Sage, your host. Welcome back to another episode all about dolls. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer so far. You guys, summer is my favorite time of year. I hate snow. I hate being cold. I don't know why I live in Colorado, but I will say in the summer, Colorado is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. So I have been enjoying my summer a ton. I've been super busy with work, but the work has been a lot of fun, so I have no complaints there. Today, I am talking with a Barbie collector named Billy. Billy posts really great content on Instagram, so please check him out at Totally Billy. And we got into so much fun stuff. We talked about Barbie collecting. We got super deep into Christie. You guys, I promise Christie is going to get her own episode someday. Today, it is Juneteenth, I watched the premiere of the Black Barbie documentary on Netflix, and I really, really enjoyed it. I have so many thoughts. I think tonight I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to take notes, and hopefully I'll be able to do like a full episode about it, because really, I could not suggest this documentary more. It's really great, so please check that out if you haven't. But we got into Christie, and we also got really deep into fashionistas and where Barbie is at today. I've been talking about this all season long. I just feel like the criticism on current Barbie is pretty harsh. I feel like for what she is and what she costs, I think she's really amazing. And Billy and I talked a lot about this. So super, super excited for this episode. In doll news, interestingly enough, we just talked about Polly Pocket, and it turns out, I think it was maybe like a day or two before the episode came out, Barbie announced that they were doing a collaboration with Polly Pocket to go along with all those mini Barbie Land sets. So it is a replica of the Barbie movie, Dream House from the movie, obviously, and I got that. Super excited to add that to my collection. I love mini things, and I think that Polly Pocket and Barbie are doing quite a few more collaborations, so we'll see how those turn out, but very excited to get that. I also saw that Barbie is releasing a new doll line. I think they're called Barbie Dream Besties, and these dolls are interesting. They're definitely Mattel trying to compete with Rainbow High and LOL dolls, and probably a little bit with Bratz. It's definitely giving me My Scene revenge vibes. Speaking of Bratz, I think this re-release that they just didn't really do much. I know people were really excited about it. I did get a couple of them, but it doesn't seem like these are flying off the shelves maybe as much as MGM had hoped. I've seen quite a few of them already on clearance, so that's pretty interesting. I think they definitely put those out to compete with Barbie, just because Barbie has been having such a peak recently since the Barbie movie, but they look interesting, but definitely very similar to Rainbow High, I think the most. I'll be checking these out when they hit stores. I don't know if I'll be buying them, but it's always fun to see, these doll companies competing with each other. So we'll see how that goes. But it really seems like this is going to be a heavy summer of dolls, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Also, I can't remember if I mentioned how I found a number 4 Barbie at a flea market for $10. I think maybe I mentioned that, but I've been trying to restore this doll for the past month, and she had really, really bad green ear. And she's almost ready. I'm going to post her when she's ready. I don't know if she'll be ready by the time this episode comes out, but I have been... it's been quite a process. I'm using CLR, and it's that stuff that takes care of rust in your house, and I have to do treatments twice a day, and I have to say it's been working really well. It's still a little bit green, but it is almost totally gone, so I can't wait to show you guys how she turned out. It's been quite a process. I was going to sell this doll, but I think just considering the amount of work I have put into her, I'm going to end up keeping her, so very excited to own this doll, and the fact that I found her for $10 is just incredible, and like I said, I've put so much work into refurbishing her, so very, very happy to show you guys this when she is done. But yeah, so not a ton of doll updates. I mean, I'm sure there's more. I could go on for hours, but I'd like to get into the interviews. So please, as always, follow me on Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls or Iconic Dollcast. You can follow me on TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls. Please, if you want to be on the show, reach out. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave me a 5-star review. It really helps. Again, thank you guys all so much for listening. I have tons more coming for you guys this summer that I'm really excited about, so stay tuned for that. And here is my interview with Billy, all about Barbie collecting and Christie and fashionistas and so much more. Okay, today we have Billy on the show, and Billy is a Barbie superfan and collector and creates really amazing content based around Barbie. You can find him on Instagram at Totally Billy. But Billy, first of all, thank you so much for being on the show. Before we get into all things Barbie, because that is what we are going to talk about today, can you give me a little background on yourself?
So I am a singer and a voice teacher. I teach musical theater and singing and acting at a university, and then I sing and I perform. And then Barbie is my my escape from my already amazing life.
Amazing. Wow, that's so cool. So, when we're talking Barbie, what would you say is your favorite Barbie era?
My favorite Barbie era, I do appreciate every era, and I could probably have like a top 10 from every era, but I am very partial to the dolls that were around when I was a child. I wasn't allowed to have them as a child, but like
Okay.
the 80s and 90s Barbies, like the really like tacky, vibrant prints, that's kind of my favorite thing. I also really love like the early superstar era stuff. So I love a little bit of the mod era. I love literally everything. So I
All
collect
of it.
Barbies from every era, yeah.
Amazing. So I'm very partial to 90s Barbie, but I too, just if I see a Barbie and I like it, I'll scoop her up. And so you said you weren't allowed to play with dolls as a kid. So what was the first doll you remember ever seeing? And then what was the first doll you actually ever got?
So my sister had like a lovely Barbie collection, and I remember being very like I remember when my dad would because it was my dad who didn't let me play with the Barbies, and so when my dad was out, my mom didn't care, and I would play with my sister's Barbies, and I remember she had Totally Hair Barbie, she had Hawaiian Fun Kira and Hawaiian Fun Ken, and she had all of these like really like vibrant, exciting dolls and Hollywood Hair Barbie,
Oh, yes.
and I just there was this like super fun energy around Barbie. The first one that I had was one time we went to McDonald's as a child and I got to get the Dolls of the World, the Kenyan Barbie, and that was like the only Barbie thing that I had, and she went with me everywhere as a child, and you know so that was that. But the first like Barbie that wasn't a McDonald's toy was I got it was the California Barbie, like the beach dolls. When
Mm-hmm.
I was in grade 11, I bought myself a set of Christie, Stephen, Barbie, Blaine at the time because Ken was out, Teresa, and Leah. So, oh, in summer there was seven.
Amazing. And then just from there, you just kind of
From there, it just became basically full on hoarders and
love it. I mean, and you know what? With Barbie, it's like you can collect forever. And that's like, I mean, there's so many amazing things about Barbie, obviously. But
yeah.
I find that, I mean, just as a collector, like it's not something that you'll probably ever like finish. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always something that you still want and need and maybe want multiples of. So,
And I mean, there's just so many. Like, there's so
exactly.
many,
It's
you know?
endless.
Barbie can do anything, and she literally has. So, when did you start getting into the social media world of Barbie and dolls?
So, when I was doing my master's, I moved to the United Kingdom because I'm based in Vancouver in Canada. And I was in a new place and I had friends and stuff there, but you don't, and my husband was still in Canada. So we were doing like long distance marriage and it was all very complicated. But I was kind of not alone in like a sad way, but just like, an adult doing my master's. And I was like, okay, well, I wanted to do something for fun. And I had these like little windows of time. So I started a Instagram, and I didn't even know there was a doll Instagram. I thought I was like going to be the only one. And then, very slowly over time, there was like vague interest in some of the things I was posting. And it kind of, has gone on from there. But a long time ago, before I did my music degree or my master's in musical theater, I also did a degree in communications. So I've always been a little bit very interested in social media and marketing and things like that. But this account has always just been for fun. And on the account, I really think it's important to like bring positive vibes only. A lot of people can get kind of negative,
Oh,
and I
yes.
understand. And people can have very strong opinions about certain dolls, and they hate this and they hate that, and there's not enough articulation. And it's my energy is just like positive vibes only. I like it has to be fun. It's Barbie. It's not that serious.
It's
It
not that
has to be a
deep.
good time, right? It has to be a good time.
Yeah, oh, 100%. And I will say, like, when I jumped into the whole social media thing with my Britney Spears custom dolls business, and I talk about this a lot, and I too, like, I created an Instagram account really not knowing what it was all about, I guess. And then just it took off so quickly, and I just found out so quickly like there's people all around the world who collect dolls and Barbie and
Yeah.
make custom dolls and do this and do that. And I just feel like I mean, like you, I just had no idea like what was out there. And just ever since then, I feel like it's totally changed my life in such a positive way. But I agree with you that there is a lot of negativity, and I do sometimes. I mean, I'll critique a doll, but I also look at things like price points and all that stuff. And we're going to talk about where Barbie's at in just a little bit. But I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. And I will say that if your goal is to only put off positive vibes, you do a very, very good job at it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like
So,
it's funny because like as a voice teacher, like I'm kind of internationally renowned and I'm known for being like really like hard because like my students are very successful like on Broadway and the West End, like have won Grammys. So
wow.
it's like that part of Billy is like bada bing, but like Barbie's has to be a good time. You know what I mean? Like please don't melt down about like, the UV plastic. Like this is not that serious. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And if
100%.
you're that
Yes.
upset about like modern Barbie, like just collect Barbies from your era. There, like you were saying at the beginning, there's like so many like dolls in the back catalog. Like you're not going to run out. Just, you know,
Just
spend your
chill
money on
out.
eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And like, like I said, I'm very partial to 90s Barbie, but I still will buy if I like, even though I'm not like a totally like I'm not crazy about Barbie where she's at right now, but if I see
Yeah.
one and I'm like, okay, she's cute, like there's always something eventually. So
Yeah.
I agree. People just it's not that deep. It's not that
Yeah. It's
deep.
like it's not that serious. And
No.
sometimes I post something and I'm like, I know someone's about to troll this, but I like it, and that's why I bought it. And yeah, the trolling comments is honestly sometimes like it's so funny. Like it's
Hilarious.
like I just couldn't imagine like trolling like a Barbie fan account. It's like, oh my God.
Well, it's
But
also just like sometimes the meltdowns that occur, I'm like, okay. Like
yeah,
there's 177 comments on this post about how ugly this doll is. And I'm like, it's the craziest thing. But for the
yeah,
most part, I do feel like most Barbie accounts, at least the ones that I pick and choose and decide to talk to, it's just more, like I said, there can be critiquing, but it's more like, yeah, how could you be negative when we're talking about Barbie? Do you know what
yeah.
I mean?
It's fun.
It is. It's so fun. And so this is a loaded question, but who is Barbie to you?
I mean, to me, Barbie is oh gosh. I think that Barbie is first and foremost just the idea of perfection, because I think that nobody can ever truly achieve, and it's escapism. I think that Barbie just represents this idea that you can feel really great about yourself all the time, that you can have the idea of multiple different careers, because the reality is we have a finite amount of time on this planet, but Barbie has like an infinite number of careers. And so you can imagine yourself doing different things than maybe where you feel stuck in certain parts of your life. And Barbie also has like an amazing, fantastic wardrobe and isn't limited by human things like finances and budgets. And I think that Barbie just represents the idea that you can have everything in a world where you can't really have everything. And I think that's sort of the magic, right?
Oh, yeah. And I love how you use the word escapism because that's what it is, right? I mean, whether you are 4 years old playing with your Barbies or you are a 33-year-old grown man setting up his first ever full doll room, like it's escapism. It makes people happy. And like, I think that's one thing about Barbie when she does get criticized, not by fans or
Yeah.
anything, but just by like the general public. When Barbie is getting, I mean, she gets brutally criticized. And
Yeah.
it's like sometimes it drives me up the wall because like I'm sure you understand this. It's like, no, like Barbie is everyone just seems to either forget or just doesn't want to mention all the positives that she brings to the
Yeah.
table. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times people also have a difficulty rectifying like with dialectical thinking. It's like something can be equal parts great and have its challenges. And
Hmm.
so Barbie can be equal parts like a feminist icon and reproduce patriarchal ideas that are damaging. And it's
Yeah.
like, but that's everything in life. And I also think it's really distasteful to only target Barbie because Barbie is an easy target because, as in terms of toys, it's very successful, but it's also always been marketed towards women. So it's very easy in our society to criticize women. And I think that there is not a similar criticism of boys' toys growing up. And in any way you can imagine, like, Barbie's criticized for lack of diversity, which was obviously a huge issue. And it's
Hmm.
great that Mattel has adjusted that. But you don't hear those same conversations with boys' toys. And there's definitely not the same level of representation across various brands as there should be. And so I think that it's like, I think there's a lot to do with like how Barbie's just like an easy target when it's like, it's not that serious. It's a doll. And
Exactly.
like, yes, there are things that absolutely needed to change, like equality, diversity, changes of body type. Those are fantastic and totally valuable conversations. But those to me, I think of that more as like a cultural dialogue that leads to Barbie in through the eras versus like sometimes there's like criticisms and it's like I remember there was like a doll that people were like really upset about that it had come out like 3 years ago and it was like on BuzzFeed and people were like, "Can you believe?" And it's like, yeah, that is an old Barbie at this point. Like, calm
Hmm.
down, BuzzFeed.
Calm down, everyone. Seriously, it
I like
just
how I'm like positive vibes only, and I've just been
no,
so
no, no.
negative.
Well, I don't think so because I think what you're doing is you're talking about the negativity that surrounds her and why it is. I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, I mean, the idea of Barbie is perfection. In a way, that is why she is such an easy target because it's like,
yeah,
actually, no, she's not, and it's like, okay, but actually, she's just a
yeah,
doll. You know what I mean? And then obviously, yes, the diversity stuff and has always been a thing, but like you said, I mean, Mattel is doing, I think, what they can, but like no toy company is perfect and they've definitely made errors on the way. But I do applaud them for the fact that they have been trying. And you can't deny that with these fashionistas, whether you think they're cheap or not, whatever. Like they've done a really great job
yeah. And
diversifying
I
Barbie.
love the fashionistas. I buy literally one of all of them
Oh,
because
I love that.
I think they're amazing. And this is the thing, like people can get like so nuts on the internet about like this one's terrible. That's like I buy one of each of them because I like them. And
Hmm.
I buy things that I like and that's about that. And I just think like, yeah, it's amazing what they're doing. And I think about how powerful that is for kids and
Yeah.
even for adults. I think that it's just like it's amazing. Um, yeah, I think about the Barbie with Down syndrome and how
Hmm.
powerful and important that is. And I ordered I ordered one for myself. I ordered one for my mom, who is an education assistant, and that was like really powerful for her because that represents the students that she works with, right?
Right.
And then I ordered one for each of my nieces and nephews and just had it like shipped directly to their house and and I also ordered like a book to go with it, like to sort of like introduce ideas around various abilities and things like that. And I think that even just like the dialogue that that's going to have around, equality and diversity, like for kids to be sort of like confronted with that in a way that might maybe their first interaction is with Barbie in that way before they meet somebody in the real world. And I think that like, I mean, that is like quite profound,
Oh,
in my
100%.
opinion.
No, no, no. I agree 100%. And it's just like I said, people just forget about all the good that Barbie does, and it drives
Yeah.
me nuts. But
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of diversity, so I was just looking at your page, I think
Yeah.
yesterday, and I noticed that you have a lot of Christie and a lot
I
of Black
do.
Barbie. And
So,
I love Christie so much.
yeah,
She, to me, I mean, Barbie is Barbie. And like, I do have a problem. Like, I always, if it's a Black Barbie, I just call her Christie because I just, it's how my brain worked as a child,
yeah.
okay? And sometimes she looks just like Christie, but I've always loved Christie and felt like she was pretty underrated. But in my eyes though, like Christie is just iconic as Barbie, and I noticed you have a lot of her. So what is your story with Christie?
So Christy is my favorite Barbie in like my favorite doll in the world. Like if the box says Christy, I need like 12 of her. So I just love Christy. So when I was in the 11th grade, I was doing this project. We have to read Lord of the Flies in the 11th grade. And I was like, I'm a creative, like arts kid. So I was like, okay, my presentation in English class is going to be what if Lord of the Flies was set with like all girls on the island, right? Instead of boys. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do a diorama. And I thought, oh, I've always wanted my own Barbies. And I was like, this is a great excuse for me to go out and buy some Barbies. And I went out. But to me, like I've always cared about equality, diversity, representation. And I knew there were African American Barbies, and I could not find Christie anywhere. I could find every other doll. And the stores were like, yeah, no, we don't carry that. We don't carry that because, and everyone kept passing the blame. So I talked to the librarian at the school, and she's like, let me help you, because she thought it was also very strange. And so she contacted distributors, and the distributors contacted, I don't know if they got to Mattel, but I know that there were three levels. It was like talking to the store, talking to the suppliers, and talking to the distributors. And all of them just kept blaming each other for why Christie wasn't on the shelves. They were saying like, okay, Christie's not there because the people aren't buying Christie, so she's not there. But that doesn't make sense because you can't buy a doll that's not on the shelves. And then the distributors were saying, okay, well, they're not ordering it. And the suppliers were also saying, well, the distributors aren't ordering it. So everybody was kind of blaming other people. And then eventually I found Christie dolls at a Walmart, like one Walmart, kind of like very far away from where I lived. And I bought one of each of the dolls. I was very excited. And then I did a public speaking, like, we call them speeches. So I wrote a speech about like my search for Christie dolls and the representation of like Black Barbie dolls. And I won a gold medal for that. And I was pretty proud
Oh,
of myself. And so from there, people actually just started buying me Christie dolls and Black Barbie dolls. And so I've always like, I love all Barbies, but Christie's my favorite. And then I just like sort of from there have just like kept collecting. But I have one of every Christie doll in the box because I just like all the way back to like the first Talking Christie. And then my Barbie room is under construction, so this is my teaching room. But I love Christie. But I mostly collect Barbie's friends. So Christie and Ken and Teresa and Kira. And then I collect those sort of like I do collect some of the blonde Barbies, but most of my collection is not blonde Barbie dolls. It's friends and sort of like just not your typical Millie Barbies. But I do have a ton of her as well because I think she's fabulous too.
of course. No, okay, first of all, congrats. And that is like one of the coolest stories I've heard thus far about you doing all that. That's amazing. I think, okay, so this is great. So we just were talking about how like, well, Mattel has gotten with diversity and stuff, and that's true.
Yeah.
But one thing I do notice is that every single year when they do the holiday Barbie, which they are going to do forever, it is still nearly impossible. In my area, at least, I live in Boulder, Colorado. So just like within like a 30-mile radius, I would say. It is so hard still to this day to find the Black Holiday Barbie like on shelves. And I do order from Mattel Creations and stuff, but I'm one of those collectors. I really like, I mean, a lot of my stuff is from thrift stores. Also, it's very hard to find Christie in thrift stores. But I like to go pick out things and hunt them down or whatever. And to this day, it is still so challenging to find the black version of the holiday Barbie.
Yeah, because I'm in Vancouver, and some stores will just carry the blonde Barbie, but most stores will carry all of the variants of the holiday Barbie. Like even so, we have like I guess it's like a grocery store chain called like the Real Canadian Superstore. I think the American equivalent would probably be something like Fred Meyer,
Mhm.
and like they carry all of the holiday Barbies there. And we have something called Canadian Tire, which is kind of like a Home Depot, and they carry all of the variants of the holiday Barbie there. I heard you were talking about that in your podcast with Joey, and I was disappointed to hear that because it's like, oh gosh, like I know that the stores often carry way more of the blonde variant
Right.
of the doll, but yeah, I'm very grateful to know that at least in Vancouver, and then
Hmm.
I often sometimes go down to because Washington State is just right south of Vancouver, so I go and do some shopping there sometimes, and they almost always have all of the variants of the holiday Barbies there as well. But I know that like historically that was not always the case. There was definitely a time when they just stocked the blonde holiday Barbies everywhere. But
It's just sad, and because growing up, my grandma, it was very, if I was going to have Barbies and stuff, she was very supportive of that, but she was always sure to make sure that I had a pretty diverse collection. And so I had tons of Christie's growing up. I had tons of Kira. I had a couple Kiras, but I had lots of Teresas. Uh, Obviously, Midge came with that too, but I,
mhm,
I had more Christie's than any of my other friends did, just because that was really
yeah,
important to my grandma. And I even remember back then, though, too, she would pick them up because she saw them. Even so, I mean, she clearly didn't find them frequently, but it was
yeah.
really important for her just and to teach me that, and I'm really appreciative. But I've always just loved Christie as well. Like and especially like '90s, late '80s, '90s
Oh yeah,
Christie.
that's like the
It's like,
best,
and
right?
I was telling you, like sometimes she's just called Black Barbie,
Yeah,
which is fine. But I'm like, no, 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 she's Christie, you know.
yeah.
And she's iconic. I love her so much.
I agree. I think that Christie is the best. And yeah, I wish they still made Christie dolls. I mean, I really liked the, reimagined Christie doll. I think that was that last year. Was that 2 years ago? Am I so old that I'm like years are passing by,
Like
blurring?
the yellow box one.
The yellow box one, was that last
I
year?
think that was last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I love her. I got
yeah,
her.
yeah, I
Had to.
love that doll. I thought that she was fabulous. And, if any of the Mattel people are listening, anytime you put Christie on the box, I will buy multiples just to support the cause.
Me too. And I hope they do a couple more reproductions of her where she's Christy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I know
I
that they're
love
doing
that.
the Golden Dream
Hmm.
reproduction because that's
Can't
great
wait.
because that doll is expensive, and I do have a couple of that one, but
Wow.
I am excited about some reproductions because like the ones that I have, it's like they're so expensive, and I saved for a while to buy them. So it's like I'm like as much as I would like to open them because I didn't plan on being like an inbox collector, but I'm also like really busy and I work a lot. So sometimes I would just buy things and then they just end up getting put in bins and then they're just stacked. And now I'm like, well, I don't, it would be so much work to go through and unbox them, which one day I will unbox a lot of the stuff that I have. But some of those, like those dolls, I'm like, I probably should just keep them in their box. I don't know. What's your opinion?
I mean, I am not an inbox person. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I spend a good amount of money on a doll, I'll keep it in the box, maybe. Like I kept that Christie doll that I got last year in the box, but just because like, my other Christies are all together and
Yeah.
they did change her a little bit. But I think it's just up to the person. For me personally, I just don't have the space to keep them
Yeah.
all in their boxes. So, and just as a kid, I never ever did that. I was
Yeah.
like, take her out immediately.
Yeah, the ones that because this is my teaching room, and so I've got a bunch in the boxes that just sort of sit on the shelf. So I've got the rockers, that's the music themed ones that I've got
Mm.
all on the shelves here, and I've got like live action Christie and Ken and Barbie up there. I'll have to put PJ up there too because I've got her somewhere, but
Oh.
just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Who is your favorite Barbie or Christie? You can do one of each. How about that?
Okay,
Which
one of each. Okay, so if I had to pick like a favorite Christie doll, I would like gun to my head, I would pick Cool Times Christie from 1988 because she's got like the hot dog t-shirt and
Mhm.
she comes with a giant hot dog. She's got leg warmers and the big crimped hair. It's just like quintessential 80s glam. Uh, but I also really love I love the Golden Dream Christie doll. There's something about the Beauty Secrets Christie doll from like the
Mhm.
this like the Superstar where it's like the box where she's like looking into the mirror. It's so camp. It's so over the top. I love it. And then I really do like even some of the like more like the later Christie dolls. Like there's just so many great ones. So I guess if I had to pick like I don't know if I had to limit myself to three, maybe I would pick those three. But I do love them all. And then Barbie. You know what? I think my favorite Barbie of all time is this is so ridiculous because I'm gonna like get shot for saying this, but it's the Barbie Fashionistas Fancy Flowers.
Oh
There's
my
something about
gosh.
this doll that I just love. I like yellow is my favorite color, and this face mold is just particularly gorgeous. I love the vibrant blue
Hmm.
shoes, and I just think this doll is like super gorgeous. And I think that like Carlisle designed this doll, and I think he's just such a creative genius. And I think that I know that some people don't like the super stylized poses of the early fashionistas, but I really loved that. It reminds me of America's Next Top Model.
Oh,
And
yes.
I think she's fabulous. So she's not normally on my teaching shelf, but I was like, for the podcast, she gets to go there for today.
I love that. And so let's say what going back to Christie, just because I love talking about Christie and because it's always, I mean, I love Barbie too, but it's always Barbie, Barbie, Barbie.
In the movie, when they showed the Mount Rushmore, I was like, how dare they not mention Christie's name? I was
Oh,
furious.
I know.
I was like, Greta Gerwig. Like my friends probably thought I was crazy because like after the movie, I had to like fact check a few things from the movie. I was like, just so we're clear, like
Yeah,
Hearing That She Can was never discontinued, right? That's just what happened. Dolls only lasted like a year back then, right? And I was like, and they should have said Christy and Teresa and
absolutely.
Kira, you know.
Agreed. Thought it was so funny that Midge got a shout out, but they did not. Um,
Yeah, it was just that was a little strange, but
so what is your favorite Christie face?
Christy Face, oh my gosh. Oh, oh. I would say, well, I think obviously the 80s superstar Christy Face is my favorite because that's like the throwback one to the childhood. Uh, but I really do like most of them. I think that sometimes I think that there was a lot of controversy. So when the handlers left Mattel
Mhm.
right before, like, cause like, so they were there up until basically just before, I think that Ruth Handler left. I think that like they got pushed out right around the time that like just before Superstar Barbie happened. So I don't think they had anything to do with the creation of the Superstar face.
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
know that for a fact. I just like I've from what I've read, I'm trying to like piece together timelines because I don't know how long that was in production. But I think that they like I'm pretty sure that there were starting to have declines in Barbie sales in like around like the Malibu era, and so you still would have been using like the original Christie face sculpt. But then when they introduced the Superstar face sculpt for Barbie and Christie, they both came out with the same face sculpt at the same time. And so that's when there started to be like you could easily criticize because
Right.
obviously you have Barbies using the same face sculpt, regardless of their like their presentation. And so I think yeah, that's a little bit of like an icky time where it's like, that could have been better. Um, and that could have been better. That definitely like could have been better. Um, but because I don't have all of the information around like production costs and who was on the design team and things like that, like I'm hesitant to like be overly critical because like I don't know and I don't know what kind of equality and diversity and outreach that they were doing at that time. I would
Mhm.
imagine not as much because I don't think Kitty Black Perkins was there yet.
No, I don't
Um,
think she came till 1980.
yeah, and so I would say that like you know to try and succinctly say that I think that era of face mold, I think that Christie looks beautiful with the superstar face, um, uh, but there's definitely lots of problems with that. And then I think that the 80s, where you have like the Steffi mold was used, which again is beautiful, but was a little bit problematic. But then I think in the 80s, where Christie gets her own like face mold is like just stunning. And then when they started using the Asha face mold, I thought that was just like that's such a beautiful face mold and
Hmm.
looks so great all the time. And then they use the Michelle face mold sometimes. They use the Shawnee face mold. And then Christy disappeared. I think was that 2006 that she just became
Somewhere around there.
Nikki.
Yep.
And I remember because it was like I bought my first Christy dolls ever, and I was like my first Barbies. I was so excited, and then I went to the store the next year, and I was like, "Who's Nikki? Where's Christy?"
The new
And
girl.
yeah, and then Christy was gone, and because I was loved Christie the most. I was like, well, this is like, blasphemous in my world. So yeah, but I think it's, it's really, and then obviously they used, I think it's called the Simone face mold for like
Hmm.
the reimagined Christie doll, and that's really beautiful. And
So
Bill did
pretty.
an amazing job. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Amazing.
you?
I'm just gonna grab my favorite Christie so
Oh,
you can see her. Hold on. Just give me one
I'm
second.
excited. I'm gonna try and guess. Is it going to be totally hair Christie? Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. So this is my favorite Christie doll and Christie face.
Working
And
out Christie.
it's a working out Christie. And the reason is because one, I had working out Barbie when I was a kid, and I think I had Teresa. This is one of the ones that my grandma could not find me, but I loved the little cassette that came with them.
Yeah,
Played that shit all the time. Still will like look it up occasionally. So I finally got this one, and I have to say, she's like not glamorous. She's not a glamorous Barbie, but
yeah,
I'm obsessed with her. I love yellow on Christy. I think that I
yeah,
mean it looks amazing. I mean, actually think most colors do look good on her, whereas I
yeah.
can't say the same with Barbie. I feel like
Yes.
Christy really can pull off green, pink, orange, anything. And yeah, this is my Christy, and I love
Yeah,
this
she's
face so
amazing.
much. Yeah.
I love the suction cup shoes that she comes
Hmm.
with. It's like so much fun. As somebody who hates to exercise, I do love exercise Barbies because I'm like, I live vicariously. It's like I feel like I've exercised by buying one, but it's like I'm lying to myself.
Yeah. I feel the same. Yeah. I'm like, oh, these are gonna be my inspiration, but then I just put them up and I'm like, they're not
Yeah.
helping, but I
I'm
love
like,
them. And yeah, she looks good in everything. So I could just talk about Christy all day. So I wish that Christy would get more shout outs. I do appreciate every time they do a reproduction of her. I hope we get more. But still so underrated.
yeah. I love like it's just I think that yeah, I love the early Christie dolls too. Even like the talking Christie and the twist and turn Christie, live action Christie, who I've got right here. I have this doll is so beautiful. It uses like the original Midge face sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's beautiful. This is just like I think this is like one of just the modern Barbie's guitars, but I put it there because I'm a music teacher and I thought it would be fun. But it's like this doll is just like so beautiful and like it's like this beautiful Woodstock inspired outfit and like just gorgeous.
I love that. On my grail list of dolls, I have
Yeah.
two that are very. I'm not a rich person. I do, I will save money for dolls. I just have not gotten around to these two because they are very expensive. But on my grail list is Totally Hair Barbie Christie version, is what I call her. And then also the Jewel Hair Mermaid one. And one day I will have them. But one critique I want to shout out here because we just talked about how Christy looks good in every color with the mermaid outfit. I'm so annoyed. I really wish they would have done her in pink instead of just the Barbie gold.
Yeah, so the jewel hair, I do have both of them, not to rub it in,
No, I
but
love it.
they're, you know what, you should watch for the jewel hair, like that mermaid Barbie, if you just check eBay every night before you go to bed, because people post her on eBay for like $50 to $100, because like it sells for a lot more than that,
Yeah.
but people don't know what they have, and they post it like at midnight Eastern time-ish onwards, like just like if you get up in the middle of the night, just like quickly just refresh because I've gotten great deals on that doll. And then the Totally Hair Barbie as well. She at least comes in like a blue dress, which
Right.
looks great. I love Totally Hair Barbie. I actually have her tattooed on my side.
Oh my
All of my
gosh.
tattoos are Barbie themed tattoos, but yeah, I love Totally Hair Barbie. She's fabulous.
Yeah. So what is on your grail list?
So my grail list. So I have one of every Christie doll.
So cool.
And it was like years in the making, right? And so that's like my like prized possessions. And then I think right now on my grails list, this is going to sound so stupid, but
No.
Pop Sensation Barbie from 2002. Like it's
No,
so stupid, but
it's not.
like I knocked over her, and so like I knocked it and the box got like it just kind of like everything got pretty mangled. And because I'm like a singer and a musician, it's like I love the singing ones, and I was like, okay, I need to like rectify this situation. So, but I mean, that's not like she'll show up on eBay again, and I know that she will be in my collection one day. But again, I mean, I still have that one, but it's like I really mangled the box. I think that okay, like Holy Grail doll that I really, really, really want. Um, okay, wait, I did lie. There's one Christie doll that I don't have.
Ooh.
Okay, so in Europe, when they released in 1980, when they released the first Black Barbie,
Mm-hmm.
in Europe, the box said Ebony Christie instead. So I don't have one that says that on the box. So technically, I guess that would be like a Holy Grail item, but that's on eBay for like, 1,000 euros. And so my husband would probably euthanize me if I bought that doll. So maybe let's say that for now. But I mean, there's so many amazing, beautiful dolls. Like I could easily just go on eBay and max out my credit card and probably get murdered by
We've
my
all been
husband.
there. We've all been there. That's amazing. Well, I have high hopes that you will get those one day.
One day,
Hmm.
keep dreaming.
How many Barbies do you think you have in your collection?
I
Approximately.
probably have, like, I mean, I've never counted them. And I have like a whole Barbie room, but it's kind of just like it's a big mess right now. I have to adjust it. I probably have at least 1,500.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have a lot of Barbies. And I don't always post everything on Instagram because like I said, I'm very busy and so like I post some stuff, but I've got a lot of Barbies and yeah, I collect like a lot of different dolls
Okay.
and well no, not I only collect Barbie. I limit
Okay.
myself to just Barbie, but like I collect like I mostly so if it's Christie, I must have it. And then I like Ken, I like Teresa, I like Kira, I like Steven. I like Barbie's friends, and then I try to limit myself on buying too many of like the superstar Barbies. I go, okay, I have to really love it because it's just too easy to like, just open that can of worms and then just like literally like fill your house with them. But there are so many like really like quintessential dolls from that era. Like I've got the Totally Hair Barbie, and I think we all do, but like that's just to me like iconic Barbie and like Peaches and Cream Barbie. And like there are so many like great Barbies that just everyone needs a staple, Peaches and Cream and Superstar and all those dolls in their collection. But yeah, I limit myself on too many of like the blonde ones because there's a lot of them.
So many. I love Totally Hair Barbie. I think that like I love the ones with long hair. So obviously Jewel Hair Mermaid, uh Hollywood Hair, Hula Hair, Totally
Yeah.
Hair. I love those dolls so much. And when I think of Barbie, I think of Totally Hair Barbie. That's just what
Yeah.
comes right to
Yeah.
my mind. She's iconic.
Even so if you're looking and because you're not like an inbox collector, just do your refreshes on eBay late at night because I just got a totally hair Barbie and like the African American Barbie and the blonde one with their outfits for like $60 US.
Wow. I
They
need
were out of the
to,
box and they came, but I was like, buy now. And
yeah.
like, yeah.
I try to
So,
like limit my watch list on eBay
oh,
because
it's
I too
like,
will just be like, "Broop, no big deal. Just spent $400 on like a couple dolls.
I just remind
Um,
myself, it's like you work hard, you can spend a little hard. But the other
that's
thing is like with Barbie, it's like there are other things that people spend money on, like
mhm.
gambling, which is like,
Or
yeah, like that's
drugs.
yeah, it's like okay, like at least my thing is like some of them were expensive. Like the live action Christie that I bought in the box, that was expensive. Um like some of the talking Christie dolls that were in the box were expensive.
Oh, I imagine
Superstar
because I
Christie's
mean,
expensive.
Christie, they've always made less of Christie. So like
Yeah.
she's not I wouldn't say impossible to get, but Christie is more difficult to get than
Yeah.
Barbie. And she's more than not, she's more expensive than Barbie
Yeah.
as well.
But what I do is like I have like a very clear doll budget. And then I also have like a list of dolls that I'm looking for. And then if one comes up, it's like as long as I'm staying within my like prescribed budget, I'm like, okay, you saved for that doll. It's come up at a price that's reasonable. It's in the condition that you want. And then I buy it. It's hard like with the vintage ones because I'm not like I don't really care that much about whether like there's some that I want them in the box, but because I think the box is fabulous, but like I've also like with the really old ones, sometimes sellers don't do a very good job packaging them. And so at least if it's in the box, you know that it's probably going to arrive
Safely. Yeah.
okay-ish. Whereas like, I've had people package like very old rare dolls and like no tissue, no bubble wrap, nothing. It's like flailing around in the box and it's like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
no
it's always
surprise that she arrived.
it's the worst when that happens, and it does happen.
Yeah. And I'm such a people pleaser that I'm like, do I say something? Like, do I message them?
Oh, I
You
do.
know,
I'm like, excuse me. I buy a lot of Britney Spears dolls
yeah.
because of my
Yeah, your
other
amazing other
ventures.
stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. And I don't ever complain about those when those come broken because all I need is her head anyway, and that's not really. I mean, sometimes people will send them in a paper envelope, and I'm like, oh my God, I could totally hound you for a refund right now because she's totally broken, but I just
Yeah.
don't. But when it happens with something that I'm not using for something like that, I get so mad because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you had to know this had someone's buying. You had to know this had some sort of value,
Yeah.
right?
It's like, it's very crazy to me because also one time I had a seller send me something and the doll arrived and her arm had fallen out. And I'm like, there are some people who are very good with repairing dolls and doing reboots and stuff like that. That is like very outside of my realm of like things that I'm good at. And so I just messaged them, being like, oh, like her arm was not attached when it arrived. And they were blaming me. It's like,
Whenever I get a questionable package, if I even think like it's gonna, I take a picture right away and I'm like, I did not
yeah,
open this yet, but
yeah,
sometimes it is awkward. So we kind of talked about it earlier. Like, obviously, you are a fan of Barbie always. And
yeah.
so, just to elaborate on that, what are your thoughts on the current status of Barbie, the releases, the face molds?
Yeah, I know this is not everyone shares the same opinion of me, but I actually really like the modern Barbies. I buy a lot of them, most of them probably, in fact. Like I buy all of the extra dolls. I think they're great. I mean, I heard the line is ending, which is sad because to me, I'm just like collectors have been asking for articulation and like more fashions, and then collectors are in playline dolls, and then collectors are like complaining that it's too like childish or like they don't like the tacky colors. It's like, so wait, you want things that are a throwback to the 90s? Do you want something with like more fashion pieces, but then you don't even buy it when it comes out? So I don't know. It's like you cannot win apparently. But I really like the modern Barbies. I think the fashionistas line is great. I also look at like price points of things.
Yep.
So this is like the like Move and Groovin'
Oh,
Christie
and
doll,
you have
right?
Christie.
Right.
Oh,
And
she's
so, but like if you
beautiful.
look at like the price tag, so this is the Canadian one, so it's got English and French, but it's like it says that it's like 49.95, and this is like the price tag of what this would have been. I think this doll came out in 1996.
Yep.
But it's like so this doll came out in 1996, $50 Canadian, so that's like roughly 35 US-ish, right? And so like that's $35 for a Playline doll. And it came with, three pairs of shoes and a doll that's got like, earrings and a dress. And I'm sure she gets like, oh, she's got a purse and I'm sure she's got a comb in there because all the 90s dolls did. But it's like play patterns for children have changed. Like I've got nieces and nephews. Kids don't play with toys forever like we did. Like I felt like a loyalty to my toys growing up, whereas like
Same.
my nieces and nephews, like they play with something and then it's like it's gone. And I'm like, don't treat Barbie like that, right? Like they don't. They're more interested in their iPads and things like that. And I think that toy companies are realizing that there's more of a turnover, and then the price point, like the cost of acquisition, has to be a lot lower. And so if you look at a fashionista, which is like $8 to $10 US, versus this doll, which has would have been like, I don't know how much it would have been in the States, but if it's got a $50 Canadian price tag and a fashionista in Canada is $15 now, we're talking that like a Playline toy is, Barbie Extra Doll, like full price in Canada, which are always on sale, it's like would be
Yeah.
$40, right? But it's like this doll, if it was $50 almost 20 years ago, like we're talking about, I don't know, it's just kind of, I just don't, I think that people have such completely unrealistic expectations around like, what do you think you're getting for something that costs way less to produce now? So I think that I can understand people's criticisms around quality and things like that, but I think it's a real misunderstanding around children's play patterns, how they're keeping the brand alive. And then I think people also complain about the cost of the collector dolls. And it's like, okay, but if that was $50 and a Barbie signature doll is like maybe $80 in Canada now, it's like I don't think that I don't think that in terms of inflation and price changes, I don't think that it's gone up that much.
No.
And I think that I don't know. To me, people love the totally hair Barbies. It's like to me, this is like a complete harkening back to that. She's got long crimped hair. She's got beautiful earrings. She's got a really cool dress. I'm knocking her shoes off, right? But it's like these dolls are beautiful and they come with a bunch of accessories and they've got like really cool style and people just love to complain about them. So to me, I think that the modern Barbies are great. My only criticism, and it's not a criticism of Mattel because I understand why they do this, but for me as a collector, I don't like the molded on fashions.
Oh,
That
yeah.
doesn't like I understand but my nieces and nephews, because I buy them the dolls, they love that because then they can put it in the pool. Because when we were kids, I thought it was cool, like when my sister would like put the Barbies in the pool and like their bathing suit was like real. But like my sister would always complain that then you have to wait for the bathing suit to dry afterwards, right? Whereas like and now it's like the kids get the doll wet and the dolls also don't have the 90s hair. So it's like the hair actually dries pretty quickly. And it's like in terms of like play pattern of what kids want to get out of it, it's like, yeah, it makes sense why some of these dolls have molded on clothing. But if you're not the target demographic, the target market for that item, I don't think that it's worth like melting down over on Instagram.
Where I'm at with fashionistas is I don't buy them all the time, but if I see one, I will buy one. If this doll was under $10, okay?
Yeah.
I see people bitching about her arms, no articulation. Her outfit is very plain. She's had the same face mold for 15 years. She does nothing for me. And it's like, okay, but I think a lot of Barbie collectors, not we, because I don't feel this way, but a lot of them kind of lose the idea that they're not, this is not made for adults. This is made for a kid.
No.
And she's also $10. You can't, all the stuff that people ask for, it's like, okay, but to keep this fair, to keep this affordable, to keep this in a price range that makes sense to parents, because ultimately that's who's buying these dolls for kids, this makes total sense to me. And it's like, she is still cute, but like, again, she's not articulated, she's not whatever, but it like you said, play has changed quite a bit. And it's like her price point is fair to me. And that's what people just always complaining about that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's only $10. What can you get out of a $10 doll?
Yeah. The craziest complaint is when people are like, it's not articulated. It's like, well, she's got more motion than the original Barbies in 1959.
It's just so crazy how like upset people get over that. And like I said, I don't really buy fashionistas very often. I'm really loving these new ones, the 65th anniversary.
Oh, they're fabulous.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the new ones. And you know how Barbie rollouts are, especially with Playline dolls. Like those could be showing up any day now. Because I think I saw like they're street dated for like April 6th, and that doesn't really mean anything. So there's a couple good ones, a couple kind of questionable ones, but that's how it always is. But this new set, I'm gonna get one of every single one of them.
Yeah. The last wave, I loved the peaches and cream Barbie. Like it does, of course, doesn't have all the crazy ruffles because like they're still trying to market this to like kids today who would still want this doll in like a pink ruffly dress. But if they just had like a decadent 80s gown, like kids would be like, what's up with her? Right?
Yeah, oh for sure.
Kids are like, my nieces and nephews, they're very sassy. And so like they'll be like, what's up with that outfit? Right? I don't like that. And it's like, ooh, right? Like, but kids are really blunt. And I don't know, to me, like a lot of them are super fun. I'm just trying to think. So there was the Barbie the Rockers one in like the pink from this last wave. And there was
the like, what is it? The fitness one? Gosh, what is she called?
Oh yeah. She looked, what was the, oh gosh.
I have her up there, I just can't see it.
It's going to come to us. We'll wake up in the night.
Will. Great Fit Barbie? I don't know.
Oh, that sounds something like that.
Close
something
to that.
Like that.
Then they have like I think the only one that really I was like, oh, was the one that's like the 1967 Twist and Turn doll. I was like, I don't see this here, but that's okay. We can't win them all.
Yeah.
And then they have a Superstar Barbie one.
Oh
That's
yeah, I thought that
yeah.
the Superstar one, I thought that the face looked really cute.
I think Barbie's in an interesting spot. I think that the movie definitely brought a lot of interest back into her, and I'm glad that they are definitely like capitalizing on this in a good way. But I think she's in a good spot right now. I feel like it is kind of maybe time for her to get a new face soon. But also like with the way she looks now, I don't know that she really needs, because it seems like with Mattel, they're always trying to update her just to be the best,
Yeah,
most human like that she can, and which is why you look at a 90s Barbie next to a fashionista and you're like, whoa,
it's
this is
shocking.
so
Yeah,
different. But so I don't think there's much need for a new face mold. But I wouldn't mind if they changed it, but I also would understand if they just didn't ever, honestly, because I think
yeah,
she's probably for a I think this is almost as perfect as a Barbie is gonna get. Look human like.
yeah. I mean, the Millie face is pretty spot on, and especially when it's like not the smiling one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that they did with braces, like that one was like very doll looking, but like kudos. I appreciated that they did
Right.
a doll with braces, but yeah, I think that the Millie face is nice. A lot of people are like really love or hate, and yeah, I don't know. It's like I think it's a nice face mold. It looks good.
I think it's pretty diverse too. Like you can change her up so much and like she can look totally, it's just like a real person. Like makeup does
Yeah,
wonders. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's just I've been, is it my favorite mold? No, because I love 90s Barbie, but I've
yeah,
been pretty impressed. Like I just got the 65th and like the Mattel Creations
yeah,
one. And I'm like, this doll is beautiful. Like you can tell it's the same like face mold, but she's out for the night. She looks like she's been made up. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I really loved the BMR 1959 dolls. I know that not everybody did, but to me, that was like, I love that line. I think they're amazing. And I just think that like, yeah, like the Millie one in the first wave and the tall doll with the big curly hair, it's like with like the really natural, like no makeup look. I think that she looked fabulous. And then sometimes Millie's like got over the top makeup and it looks good. And, she always
Yeah.
looks fabulous.
She does. So just a couple more, actually, just one more question. So you were kind of talked about it earlier. So you stick to Barbie. Those are the dolls you buy.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
try
go
to I
outside
try
of
to
that.
limit myself because it's easy to just have a lot of dolls and there are a lot of other really like fantastic things out there. I have a Beanie Baby collection from like my childhood still, and like that's a lot of Beanie Babies because we all had a lot of them.
Hmm.
So I still have those, and so it's like some of the other dolls out there are like very beautiful, like the Integrity Toys dolls. They're like obviously very nice. I bought one Monster High doll because it was the one that everyone was excited about, that Venus flytrap one. But that's because I
Hmm.
teach musical theater and like Little Shop of Horrors is one of my favorite musicals. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I ordered that one. But I really do try to just be like, nope, stop yourself, Billy, because there's so many that you could just literally just buy. And I also like to buy I buy the modern Barbies, but then I'm also always looking on Marketplace and eBay and Poshmark and like looking for dolls that I'm looking for. So I'm like, I've got lots of dolls on my wish list that I don't need to also be collecting anything else. Plus, I don't get the same joy. Like I have bought other dolls and then I often like I just gift them to people
Hmm.
because it's like it arrives and I don't get the same like joy and excitement that I got from like when this arrived in the mail the other day. It's like I was so excited.
Is that the most recent Barbie you've purchased?
Uh no, but I wish, right? That it's like that one was one of the more recent ones that arrived. I'll say that, right? But it's like I get a big sense of joy, whereas like some other things I'm like, oh, that's cool, and it's like I probably shouldn't have bought it, and but I
I
did.
feel that. Yeah. I pretty much stick to Britney Barbie, and then I like American Girl, but I only stick to the ones that I had when I was a kid. And I'm so excited to get the American Girl Barbie. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
I did see that. Yeah,
Yeah, so it won't be here until like the winter time, which is so stupid. But I was pretty excited to see those two come together, just because Barbie and American Girl, and then Britney Spears were just my childhood.
yeah. Because you're just a couple years younger than me. Have you seen Britney live?
Oh yeah, of course I have.
Yeah, I saw.
I got to meet her once
Really?
for my college graduation in 2017, I want to say. I got to go get my
Oh my
picture taken with her.
gosh.
Sorry, it's a glare, but yeah.
What did you
Best
study at college?
elementary education.
Nice.
And so I actually am not a teacher though. So I've been coaching gymnastics for about 15 years now, and I've just kind of worked my way up there. So now I direct a gym in the area. Um, and I stuck with it. You know, I was getting out of college and then I got a promotion at work.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I feel like I still use my education.
Yeah. Well, no education is ever a waste,
Right.
right?
So
Like,
I with kids all the time, and yeah, I didn't, but I went for elementary ed.
yeah, I
So,
love that. I
yeah,
saw I saw Brittany at the circus tour. She was in Vancouver. I don't know if you've ever heard about this one specific show, but
I'm sure I have.
it was like her like I think she talks about it in the book. Someone told me that, but it's like a breaking point for her. And when I tell you it was like the like it was actually quite tragic to watch unfold because clearly something was really wrong. And like she came out and she was performing and then the show just stopped and we were all in darkness. And then somebody came over like the loudspeaker, like the show stopped. And we had been in silence for like probably, I mean, it felt like 45 minutes, but it's probably like 10 or 20 minutes. And then somebody comes on and it's like, the performers had to leave the stage because people are smoking in the audience.
That story
We
is crazy. I know what you're talking
we
about.
waited for like a really long time. And then Brittany came back out and she was clearly not interested in doing the performance. Like she was like, you know, because you do gymnastics and like I do musical theater, she was not even marking.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the concert, she said in the microphone, "That'll teach you. Rock out with your beep out, mother effers." I'm pretty sure it was something along that
Yep, you're
line.
correct. Yep.
And I was like, you know, as a performer, it was like it was really hard to be in the audience because I was there. Like I like Britney Spears, but I'm not like you love Britney Spears.
I do.
I like Whitney Houston is my like is your Britney. So like I get it. Like we've got our diva worship. Like Whitney and Mariah, like I would fight for their honor,
And I
right?
like Britney and Madonna. So
Yeah, and like and
I
I've seen both, right? But it was like as a performer, it's like you can never betray the audience. And I was like, and obviously Britney was going through things and I have absolute compassion, but you know, it was like just because I know you're a big Britney fan, I was like, it was quite the you know, because like I was there because the Pussycat Dolls were opening and I mean
Oh.
like that era, it was like Pussycat Dolls were like, you know, the thing. And so anyway, it's gotten a little off topic, but
That's a fine.
I was at this the very sad, infamous Britney show.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, like you said, I'm very in Britney Spears world, and I just remember like all that happening, and then I mean, obviously, people who are big fans of Britney Spears, like me, like we all knew something was wrong, but it's hard
Yeah.
for me to like to look at it. I wouldn't say hard. It's different for me to like hear your point of view because I can imagine watching that and just being like, what the fuck, you
Yeah.
know? But I feel like with Britney, she was always so like you could tell she's either in it or she's not, but I think no
Yeah.
one ever really like put together why. And so yeah, some of those performances are painful to watch. And like even like when I went and saw her in Vegas, like obviously I had the time of my life. I just
Yeah.
met her, like my queen.
Yeah.
But and so I'm gonna have a good time regardless, but I definitely my friends that went with me were like, does she like this? And I'm like, sometimes I think, I don't know,
Yeah.
so it's sad. And sadly, I don't think we're ever gonna like, I don't think she's really
Yeah.
ever gonna be into it again,
Yeah. And
unfortunately.
that's okay. Like, because, you know, as like, you know, like we're both performers and it's like there comes a time where, you know, if it's not serving you, that's okay. And that's often a time where you can like not everything has to be forever. So perhaps like Brittany can have this like amazing it's sort of like a relationship. A relationship ending isn't inherently a bad thing. It's like
Right.
Brittany having her amazingness could have been like that could be enough. And maybe it's okay that Brittany now goes and focuses on her wellness and she still posts videos of her singing and dancing in a way that's meaningful to her.
Hmm.
And perhaps like especially with her level of wealth, like perhaps that's all she needs, right? Like and she doesn't necessarily owe us anymore because, like,
No,
she's given enough.
she has, and
She served us all.
it's quite an interesting time, I think, to be a Britney fan, if you want me to be honest. But love her always. Anyway, sorry everyone, but actually I'm not sorry.
We were off top
because most people that listen to this podcast probably know me because of Britney Spears. So it's always great to have her come up, and sometimes it is sad. But Billy, first of all, thank you so much for this great, amazing discussion. I appreciate your time, and I just had so much fun. It's always fun to, Barbie is such a broad topic, and sometimes I'm talking about things like Rainbow High dolls or Bratz or Cabbage Patch Kids, and it's very specific. But I love, and I love doing all my episodes, but it's always fun to just be like, throw out the word Barbie and let's just go. Cause there's so many ways you can go with that conversation. So thank you so much. But before I let you go, can you please tell everyone where they can find you on the internet?
So you can find me at Totally Billy. So TOTALLY BILLY. Totally Billy on Instagram. And you can see me post pictures of my collection, and you can come and troll my comments and, maybe give a follow. And if you liked the podcast, say that you found it on the podcast. And then I'll know that you know some of the inside scoop too.
Yes. Well, thank you again so much for doing this.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And it was so great to meet you officially.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Thank you so much, Billy, for being on the show. That was so much fun. I honestly had no idea we were going to dive so deep into Christie, and I really, really loved that. I also loved our discussion about fashionistas. Seems like me and Billy are on the exact same page with those. So very, very happy to have him on the show. Please follow him on Instagram at TotallyBilly. Next time, we are going to be talking about Star Wars dolls and a little bit about Madonna and Britney, which I'm super excited about, and that will be coming out on July 1st. Still, so many fun things coming this summer to watch out for that I think you guys are going to love. If you've made it this far, first of all, hi. But also, I want to say, there's something so big in the works for the Iconic Dollcast later on. And it's still in the process of coming together, but if all goes well, you guys are going to love it. You guys are going to freak out, but that's all I can say right now. Very excited. So many cool new episodes coming for you guys. And I can't say it enough. I'm just excited. So as always, please follow me on Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls or Iconic Dollcast. Follow me on TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls. If you want to be on the show, please reach out by DM. You can email me at iconicdollcast@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, please leave me a 5-star rating. Leave me a review if you love it. And I will talk with you guys next time.